Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now the end of February of 2022, and as we get closer to the official release of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series, a lot of Star Wars fans are also very excited for the Bad Batch Season 2. Of course, we also have Star Wars Andor, The Mandalorian Season 3, and a lot more to come next year as well for 2023. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do post a couple of entertaining things from time to time and really make sure to interact with you guys further. So what's even all the more exciting right now is that, yes, we do have Jon and Dave Filoni working on a ton of projects, including the Ahsoka Tano series. In fact, a lot of sets are currently being built for the Ahsoka show, and Rosario Dawson is already doing a lot of training for her role as Ahsoka Tano once again. She's in fact going to be doing a lot of her own stunts in the new series, of course, working along with some of the new characters that are going to come into the equation here, like Grand Admiral Thrawn, Sabine Wren, and yes, even Ezra Bridger. Now, on top of all of this, one thing that a lot of Star Wars fans have been very confused about is exactly what's going on with The Mandalorian Season 3. Now, one thing that we do know is that there's a lot of work that is being poured into this season because it's going to have a lot of connections to the Ahsoka Tano series as well as new spin-offs of the Mandalorian series in its own, also known as the mandoverse, as a lot of fans like to call it. So there's a lot of things happening at the same exact time. We already know that Mando Season 4 is already in the early development phase, in which Jon and Dave will not be calling it Season 4 specifically. It's going to have its own subtitle, The Mandalorian blank blank blank, whatever it may be called. Now, on top of all of this, what's really intriguing about everything related to The Mandalorian Season 3 is exactly what's in store for the characters of Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, Djarin, and yes, even Grogu once again. Now, specifically, with both creators Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni currently creating multiple Star Wars shows at once, they are finally set to begin filming the Ahsoka Tano series by this April. However, it's noted that Jon and Dave are getting ready to begin filming a very important scene for The Mandalorian Season 3 that will involve beloved characters Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano. Now, Mando Season 3 is described to have the most Luke Skywalker scenes out of both Mando Season 2 and Book of Boba Fett combined, that will feature a specific mission that Luke Skywalker goes on that later leads him to crossing paths with Ahsoka Tano again. Now, this entire mission that Skywalker goes on is described to take place within an ancient Jedi temple on a brand new world, based within the Outer Rim territories that holds many Jedi artifacts. Now, it's noted that Luke Skywalker is set to discover some kind of Jedi armor from an era that takes place before the events of the High Republic era, where Jedi wore armor for certain battles and situations like this. Now, let me just stop right there for a second. Now, one thing that we do know is that in the High Republic, alright, there's a lot of art that does show Jedi wearing armor, but this particular set of armor that Luke Skywalker discovers is best noted as taking place before the High Republic. Again, we already know that in canon, Luke Skywalker for several years went on a lot of missions to uncover hidden Jedi lore across the galaxy. Even the Rise of Kylo Ren comics, alright, actually alludes to some of that in a very indirect manner. Now, when you look at everything related to how both Luke and Lor San Tekka, as well as R2-D2, went on thousands of missions to uncover Jedi lore throughout the span of 30 plus years, it just goes to show you exactly how much potential Jon and Dave really have to work with here and to really implement it into the Mandoverse. So this all starts with The Mandalorian Season 3 of Luke discovering this ancient Jedi armor. Moving on. Now, this armor that Luke Skywalker discovers is actually described to appear very near similar to Din Djarin's armor and appears to be very Mandalorian-esque in the scene that is all mapped out by Jon and Dave currently. Now, the scene is set to progress to a point where Luke Skywalker later meets up with Ahsoka Tano after he lands his X-Wing on a new world as well. where they discuss some form of conflict that Djarin has ran into that concerns the dark saber. This is where both Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano travel to Din's location, where Luke gets to meet Grogu once again. Both Luke and Ahsoka Tano are set to engage in a small fight against these new foes that Din is facing and is having trouble with as they are trying to steal the dark saber. These foes appear to be very much like Sith Inquisitors, however are using Beskar-type weapons. These foes are said to be ones that uncovered the Mandalorian secrets, of course, of the past that are trying to actually go up against Djarin. Now, Mandalorian lore across the galaxy is actually said to be collected by these new foes, and that they use the weapons either for profit or defense. So, once again, these are the same exact foes that most likely we talked about with the Ahsoka Tano series that Grand Admiral Thrawn hires basically as his own guards to protect a hidden base, also in the Outer Rim territory. So you can see how Mando Season 3 is kind of connecting here to the Ahsoka series. Moving on. So the scene is set to involve a moment where Luke Skywalker is actually set to use the ancient Jedi armor in the scene and uses his green lightsaber against these new foes. However, Skywalker is said to have some form of trouble against the Beskar weapons that they actually obtained. One scene in particular that is planned to be filmed involves Djarin getting blown across the battlefield from an explosion where he drops the dark saber, where Luke Skywalker is set to pick up the dark saber and actually uses it in battle against these new foes. Now, these new foes are best described to later be disintegrated by Djarin, surprisingly, after he runs towards his ship to get one of his weapons, to take them out one by one. One of the last remaining sequences involves Luke using the darksaber against these new Beskar-type armor foes that appears almost like an axe in the scene with these weapons. The darksaber that uses, of course, against the new weapons and, of course, the new foes that Luke Skywalker uses against the Beskar armor is set to escalate to a point where Ahsoka Tano helps Luke by using the Force Repulse technique, which creates a shockwave that knocks down the foes. So, if you guys really don't know much about what in the world the Force Repulse technique really is, this is a technique that was first introduced in the Battlefront video games, where Luke Skywalker and other characters are able to use it. It basically creates a large shockwave by the Force user. It's basically like, almost as if a Force user creates an implosion or an explosion that creates the shockwave that knocks down the enemies or flings them across their environment. And we're going to finally be able to see Ahsoka Tano utilizing this new Force power, making her all the more stronger than ever before. We also know that Luke Skywalker has his own set of new Force abilities that will be explored in both Mando Season 3 and in Mando Season 4 that's going to be done in a very surprising way by John and Dave. Now, once again, this is obviously a great way to explore the new Jedi lore, such as the armor, to actually have Luke Skywalker using the darksaber, using a Mandalorian weapon, is going to reach, a whole new level of Star Wars. I mean, this could very well mark itself down as one of the best battles and/or duels in Star Wars history, without a doubt. Even though it's not, quote-unquote, a saber duel per se, it could very well put itself down as being the best fight. I know that Rian Johnson tried to do something different, it just did not work out in the throne room. I myself, feel that that's bottom of the level of when it comes to lightsaber fights, but that's just my opinion. This in particular, how we have Ahsoka and Luke protecting Din and Grogu, fighting alongside Din as well, and how it takes place on this hidden world. It's going to be very interesting to see exactly how it all turns out. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.